program. I would like to invite everyone here at the Bear Center to please join me on the observation deck or come to the viewing windows to see two of our bears we have out and about right now. I would also like to mention that this broadcast is being broadcast worldwide. And so we have many volunteers who are also worldwide who I would like to recognize and thank very much for them volunteering their time, putting in countless hours to help make these broadcasts possible. And one of these awesome volunteers is our PTZ driver, who I may be referring to throughout this program. And this PTZ driver is one of our worldwide volunteers who is operating our pan, tilt, and zoom camera, which can see 180 degrees in this front area. We have 3 other cameras that are linked on our website, www.bear.org. Alright, well today in Ely it's a little muggy. It's pretty warm, probably about 70, 65 degrees, and it looks like it's about to rain. So, yet again, another thunderstorm on its way. But we have 2 of our bears out right now. We have one male, who is Ted Bear. He is our largest male. He is about 553 pounds, and he is 17 years old. We also have our little yearling Holly out. She's about 18 months old, and she's our newest addition to the Bear Center. And what you're seeing happen right now is we have a staff member out in the enclosure. This is Heidi. We call her Mama Number 1. And as you may have noticed before, Heidi went off to call Holly down out of her white pine, and Holly readily came. And that's because Holly has a deep trust with Heidi and a very strong bond. And she seeks Heidi for guidance, and when she sees anything that she doesn't understand, or if she thinks something is dangerous, she'll go to Heidi to kind of guide her and give her direction. Now this is kind of a big deal, what we're seeing right here, because Holly Bear, when she came to us, was a very timid and scared little bear. We received her December 27th of 2013. So she's very new. And she came all the way from Arkansas. She was born in the wild, but she was separated from her mother by a forest fire. She was then taken to a rehab center where they tried to make her releasable back into the wild. However, this was not possible. And so the North American Bear Center received her in December. She immediately went into hibernation and came out in April. And like I mentioned before, when she came out of hibernation, she was very scared of people, very scared of other black bears, and was just nervous. It took her a while to get used to people, and Heidi was one of these people that she bonded with right away. And we did this through feeding her a bottle. So Heidi here would hand feed her bottles every day, and over time this developed into a deep trust. And as you can see now, Holly Bear doesn't really take her eyes off Heidi very much. And so once we got little Holly Bear here used to people, such as Heidi and another staff member, Sharon, who we call Mama Number 2. So once she was used to these 2 people, we tried to expand and get other people close to her, hand feeding her, things like that. And then we released her into this 2.5 acre enclosure. And that was a big deal. That was May 30th, and she was very cautious at first to leave the safety of her den. But with the help of her 2 surrogate mothers, she came out, and now she pretty much roams the whole 2.5 acres. She climbs all the trees. She seems very comfortable, and she's grown in confidence every single day. However, when we released her with Ted Bear here, who's over 5 times her size, she was a little intimidated at first. And the first time she saw him, she looked up, looked at Heidi, and then ran up a tree. So she was a little fearful, a little intimidated. But as you can see now, Ted Bear is in between Heidi and Holly. And a little bit earlier, they were very close, probably within a few feet of each other. And so she's getting more used to the other bears, more acclimated to this 2.5 acre enclosure, and used to people visiting her and our visitors that come on the deck. Black bears have excellent senses of hearing and smell, and so each day when there's people on the deck, she can smell each and every one of you and hear the very subtle noises, whether that be running on the deck or like a sneeze. She can hear that very readily. But as you can see, she seems quite confident and actually pretty at ease. I believe Heidi is giving her some peanuts in the shell, out of the shell, maybe some grapes, some of Holly Bear's favorites. We've also placed some of those foods in Ted Bear's little donut, and that's to show how bears can do simple problem solving. They have to manipulate that donut to get the food out inside, and so it stimulates their mind and shows our visitors how black bears kind of think and how they can use their paws, noses, and tongues to get at the nummy treats inside. And that's not unlike what black bears would have to do in the wild, whether that be rolling over a log, climbing up a tree, lifting up a rock to get their food. Now, black bears are omnivores, and what does that mean? Well, the majority of their diet is vegetation. And as you can see, there's a lot of vegetation in our 2.5 acre enclosure. And we've planted some white clover out in front, some ryegrass over to the right of the enclosure that our bears love to chew on throughout the day. Black bears also like berries and nuts. And so we feed our bears peanuts in the shell, peanuts out of the shell, and Brazil nuts, as well as a wide variety of different fruits, such as apples, pears, plums, kiwis, avocados. One of Ted Bear's favorites are watermelon. We also give them dried fruit like dried cranberries, dried apricots, and they seem to really like those. Looks like Holly Bear is kind of scampering off to the right of the enclosure. Looks like Mama Bear, number 1, left. But a few weeks ago even, Holly Bear would be running away from Ted right now. And as you can see, she's a lot more calm. She's still kind of checking where he is, but she's not intimidated to the point where she's running full speed away up a tree. Now, climbing trees is the number 1 defense mechanism for black bears, and black bears are excellent climbers. They have extremely long claws that are a little bit curved, and that aids in their ability to climb up trees very fast. And they can climb up trees pretty early in life, and so when they come out of their dens after hibernation in the spring, little cubs can climb trees fairly readily. And so the black bear senses something in its environment they can't identify, they smell something kind of weird, or they hear something that's unnatural, they'll usually climb up a tree. So they'll climb first, and then ask questions later. And it looks like Holly's out and about, going to go explore the rest of this 2.5 acre enclosure. So those are 2 bears we have out right now. We have 2 other ambassador bears here at the North American Bear Center. We have Honey Bear. She is our 18-year-old female, and she is a beautiful cinnamon phase black bear. So she has a nice red cinnamon coat that actually turns a little bit blonde throughout the summer. We have another male here as well, and that is Lucky Bear, and he is 7 years old. And we refer to Lucky as our local comedian. He's very playful, very curious, and very smart. He is about 336 pounds, so he's a good weight. He's a very fast runner, and he also still climbs. Ted Bear down here does not climb anymore, neither does Honey Bear, but Lucky and Holly both have climbed trees pretty much every single day. So those are our 4 wonderful ambassador bears here at the North American Bear Center. I'm sure we'll be letting out honey relatively shortly. And I once again would like to thank our worldwide volunteers who put in many hours and much of their time to make these broadcasts happen. You are greatly appreciated. But I would also like to thank everyone here for visiting the North American Bear Center. And just remind you that the pass you bought today is a day pass, and so it is valid until 7 o'clock p.m. tonight. And you can come and go from the Bear Center as you please. So feel free to go grab some lunch in town, check out some cool shops we have, and then come on back before 7 p.m. We have 2 other enrichment programs, one at 1 o'clock and one at 4 o'clock. The 4 o'clock program will once again be broadcast worldwide. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone who participated in our 11 o'clock enrichment program. Some staff members will be out and about in the exhibit hall to answer any questions you may have about North American black bears. Otherwise, we have over 60 videos, a boatload of information, 2 wonderful BBC documentaries playing in our theater, and a whole bunch of really awesome pictures of North American black bears from the Ely Tower area. Looks like Ted Bear's climbing up on the rock bed, looking for any food he can get. Alright, so once again, thank you all, and have a wonderful time here at the North American Bear Center. Thank you.